Hi colleagues, and welcome to our next episode of DINCast, where today we're looking at communicating in a COVID world, absolutely crucial at this moment in time. And I'm delighted, and I've got one of the best communicators in the game here with me today. This is joined by Neil Mullarkey, founder of the Comedy Store Players and communications expert, an all-round nice guy, and also a very successful author as well. If you haven't already purchased this book, I believe it's available at all good Amazon bookstores. And we might even talk about some of this, Neil, as well. So welcome, and thank you for joining us today. Do you want to just tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I come from the world of improv theatre, so I've been with the Comedy Store Players for 35 years. But about 20 years ago, I decided that I wanted to get involved in the murky world of management development and leadership training. So I said, hey, improv, what a great skill for people in organizations. And the world said, yeah, of course, creativity, communication, teamwork, and thinking fast on your feet, but also adapting to changing world technology, et cetera, consumer demand, and right now in this absurd world of COVID. So I did write that book, you said. So I used some of the improv skills, some of the stuff I've helped learn from people actually teaching me how to use improv and theatre skills in their daily lives.
So, I mean, let's pick up sort of, what we call sort of the elephant in the Zoom, because so many people now are having to work remotely. And I personally think sort of, some of the standards that we have on video calls have dropped. And it's so nice to see that, you've dressed up for the occasion as well, because I think, we don't just want to let standards drop when, we run some important businesses here. So I know you've probably done some research into Zoom etiquette, and I just wondered whether you could sort of share your insights to help our viewers.
Well, the big Zoom problem is when to press the leave button. What's behind you? Bookshelves, dogs, cats, children. I think that the issue is that we sometimes find it hard to look at ourselves. And I'm realizing that sometimes I might say to people, do you want to look at yourself like that all day? And also the stress of what could come in through that door at any stage. That's when I'm finding people with families and pets. So at some point, we've just got to say, let's just relax. Ian and I discuss wearing dinner jackets as a joke, really, as a way of saying, let's not get too fussed about it. On the other hand, I know a guy who puts on a suit, goes to his car, drives around the block, comes back, goes to work. At the end of the day, does the opposite, just to kind of show that difference. Because I think it's really hard right now to separate the real world and the work world. Somebody said to me, well, my kitchen table's become the board table. So I'm saying, okay, we'll put a tablecloth on it when it becomes the family table. We've got to make a difference, because otherwise this is taking over our whole lives, and we've got to step back from the work.
Yeah, and it must be really, really hard because of so many people have moved so quickly or transitioned so quickly into working remotely. Having that separation probably is quite hard for some people because, they probably think, oh, I'm going to work a little bit harder or a little bit longer here.
Too many people are working too hard. Stop it. One firm, I coach various people. Somebody said, oh, well, they said just work 50%, but I'm being told actually by my manager to work harder, saying, what's going on with your timesheets? We've got to work less, because actually now we don't have the commute beginning and end of the day, but people are being asked to work from 8 till 5 and more. So sometimes my tip here is press the decline button. You don't have to go to all meetings. You don't have to go to all the meetings. You can go early, then leave, come in late. If there's a good agenda, you know when to pop in. Do they need you there? Does it have to be Zoom? This is my other tip, Ian. Sometimes you might want to just go, let's do an audio call so I can really listen to you. It's hard to listen when you're thinking, oh, do I look like that? Does she look like that? What's going on in Ian's room behind there? There's some sort of weird thing with cupboards. What's he got in there? Sort of severed heads or something?
Actually, I've just got lots of copies of your book, Neil. So I think you're right about the whole meeting thing. And I do wonder whether organizations are substituting physical meetings for online meetings instead of just asking the question, do we really need to have a meeting at all?
Do we have to have a meeting? Does it have to be videoed? Does it have to be an hour? Or the other day I heard they did a 9-hour thing. Ouch, can't do that. An hour and a half is enough. Go and have a break, have a cup of tea. do you have to have a meeting? Can you just have a chat? Can you do a sort of chat thing? Can you send documents to one another, play things back and forth? Because I know lots of people who say, I'm not very good in the meeting. I'm just much better at going away and thinking about it. And I think we have to give them room, because actually that's a lot of us, isn't it? So give, because you're about to speak there, and that was the other thing I was going to say. We have to respect one another's space, because in the real world, I can tell when you're about to speak, and you can tell when I'm about to finish. Whereas this, it's kind of as if it's like 1.2 seconds delay, and we're thinking, well, why hasn't he answered me? Didn't he understand, or doesn't he like me, or could you just let me in? So I think we've got to signal better. Hey, I've finished.
Yes, like or say Roger and out, or but I mean, you're right. I mean, I don't know whether you. I mean, you do a lot of your training online now, but I'm finding Zoom and video conference meetings absolutely exhausting, because I don't know why. I don't know whether it's because I've got to concentrate more or anything like that. I mean, you do this far more than me. How do you manage to sort of cope with so much online chat?
Well, first of all, it is knackering. We need to understand that. It's very tiring. I've found articles about this. First of all, there's a sense of being looked at the whole time, straight in the eye. There's also the sense of, I've got to look at you. Whereas if I'm looking around a room, then half of the people are thinking, oh, he's off me now. Whereas television's looking at me, I'm looking at television. I'm also, I guess my brain is trying to think, what's going on with the body language here? What's Ian doing? And I can't get all the information, but my brain's still trying to find the data. Blah, 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 what's going on? And I think it's tiring. And the whole sense of this world being just a small screen, that's tiring. Yeah, I read an article the other day on BBC World about it's tiring where your home and your work collide. How tiring is it if you're at a party or your wedding, when there's a workmate, there's your boss, there's your best friend from school. I hope he doesn't meet her, or will they get on, or that kind of stuff where your worlds collide. Will that, because I know there's somebody behind the door who wants their dinner or whatever, or saying, get off the Wi-Fi, I'm remote learning, Dad. That's the kind of stress we don't even know we're dealing with. Nicola Morgan, who wrote about the teenage brain, she said, when you're reading an article online, you're using a lot of energy just blocking out the sidebars and stuff. When there's a hyperlink, your brain's going, will I, shall I? And it's actually less tiring to press on the hyperlink than go, no, I won't. So all this stuff's going on in your brain, much more tiring than real life. And also you don't get a chance, Ian, to saunter down the corridor, to get on the train, go on the bus, that decompression time between meetings or at the beginning and the end of the day. We need that, don't we?
Absolutely. And I think this is part of what I wanted to sort of explore with you, because you've been working with some large groups sort of recently, sort of engaging them and getting them to sort of still think creatively. And I just wondered, would you be able to sort of share one or two examples of how you're going about that?
Well, I share some improv skills, and you have to be better organized than I am normally in real life. Normally I say, let's do improv. Hey, had some fun. Now I have to sort of set people up, choose a few people in the opening moments or have them preordained, because we can't do it with everybody, but also breakout rooms. Everyone try a little exercise. I've got to have more energy than you might think, which I'm trying to do now, Ian, for you. Somebody said that they did a kind of online learning seminar for trainers, and the presenter was kind of a bit CBeebies. And then after a while, you realize that's the kind of energy you need. Because also, right now, we're all stuck here. But every now and again, your body needs to go, hello. So let's do it together. Shall we, Ian? Can you sway with me? This is what I get people to do.
I can sway with you, yes.
Put your hands up. So there we go.
There we go.
There we go. But when you get gallery view on this, isn't it great? And get people standing up, because sitting is the new smoking. Sitting like this for hours on end, you're hunched over, terrible for you. So I get people to stand up. You don't want to see what's underneath here. So stand up, Ian. I'm
standing up now, yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, now sit down. So just get people moving, because your body's more creative when it's moving. I teach improv skills. Rule 1 of improv is listen and build on what your partner said.
Yeah.
So why don't we start with, let's just tell a story, shall we? Ian hasn't any idea what I'm doing here. We're going to tell a story. Napoleon and the donut. Off we go. Okay. We'll do one word at a time. You ready?
Ready, let's go.
One
day,
Napoleon
went
to
the
baker's
For
A.
donut.
Look!
He,
Cried.
because
The.
baker,
Had.
found
A.
bag
Of.
flour.
Hurrah!
Hurrah indeed.
Napoleon.
Was,
Hungry.
so,
He.
started
Eating.
the
Flour. He.
coughed.
Donuts.
Ah,
Delicious.
when,
Cooked.
absolutely.
Okay, there you go. So that's one of the games we do. And what's fun is I can do it with somebody as clever as you, Ian, and as open and sensitive and mindful. Then we can go look breakout rooms, and everyone can do it. Little groups of 2 or 3, and it's quite fun. Breakout rooms are the thing that I've really found exciting, and chat as well. So we can go, but isn't Ian gorgeous? Or can you repeat the name of that person you said? Nicola Morgan. You know, put up a link. And also for those who are involved in training or in any event, virtual event, meeting, you should have a sort of facilitator, somebody's leading it, but also somebody who's on the tech. If suddenly things go wrong, or there's a document or a link, or somebody drops out, and it's really great to take the pressure off the facilitator or the leader of the meeting if somebody else is making sure that those things are covered. And the chat can be quite rich as well. You can download it later and find out or that some materials needed or somebody put in a nice link. I found that interesting. And that works. Some people say, oh, I don't want to be distracted. Well, some people actually would rather contribute via chat than saying, oh, look at me.
And sort of just moving on, I don't know whether I've mentioned it or not, but you've got a book out about 7 steps to improve. Yes, that one there. And obviously, in these times, communication is absolutely critical, and particularly to your colleagues within your organisation. So I just wondered whether you could sort of just pick out some highlights and share those with our viewers, just to remind them, some takeaways for them as to how to communicate.
Yes. Well, there's 7 chapters, and learning all the time about this medium. Let's learn about it. If in doubt, learn about the other person. Start your meeting 10 minutes early. What have you been up to? How are you feeling? Before you get to the task. Look, eye contact important in real life. Important in this, both in terms of it being tiring. So go to audio, but also, has that person finished speaking? Does she want to say something? Listen is my number one. Really listen to that person. Listen to the tone of voice, what's going on underneath the actual content, the ideas. Let the other person speak. Don't jump in. And humor. This is one chapter I call Lighten. Let's have some fun. Let's get dressed up. Let's go. I do a thing where I suddenly say in the middle of a workshop, everyone now, go and find a cuddly toy. Recognizing that you're both in the meeting, but also in your house. So don't feel bad about it. It means you get up, you breathe differently, your posture's changing. So you lighten your posture, lighten the mood. There's got to be much more humor. So I'm being asked now to do just fun team build, to get people working together, feel creative. And the head of HR director said to me the other day, this is going to come out of the well-being budget, not the training budget, because people really need this. And then my last one is leave well. At the end of a call can be problematic. So who presses the leave button? What do we say goodbye? And I thought that in terms of meetings, make sure everyone kind of knows what they have to do. Are we just going to meet again tomorrow to do the same thing? Or do I know what I've got to write or collate or research? Or actually, maybe it's better I just talk to this person one-on-one. So how do we leave? I think we've got to be a bit tougher on the end of meetings and what the result is, rather than, well, that was a waste of time. Ian went on and on as well, didn't he, as usual? And I've been lumbered with all these actions. So just be a bit more careful.
That's fantastic, Neil. I think, it's really sort of just important just to remind people, I suppose, that actually some things are still relevant even in a remote world. I love the idea of just sit down and actually listen. 2 ears, 1 mouth are there for a reason, I suppose.
And actually, I was going to say, switching to audio, my thing, lots of people have done lots of research about virtual meetings even before this happened. And they said for some meetings, some parts of meetings switched just to audio, because then you can really listen. You're listening in a different way. You're not being distracted. In fact, a friend of mine is a professor, found with his PhD student in Jamaica. The student said, this is better than real life because we can talk, I can write things, we can send each other stuff by chat, and I'm actually using more of my brain. And the research said, sometimes when it's an emotional thing, or it's tricky, you've got to think hard, you don't want cognitive overload, then audio is better. Doesn't mean you can't switch back to it at the end or have a bit at the beginning where I say, look, Ian, you're looking better than ever, I must say. This lockdown's making you look so handsome, I would say.
I don't want to particularly turn this into too much of a bromance there, Neil, but thank you very much. I'll take it I win best in show for today's session.
Yes.
So thank you so much for sharing all of those insights. I hope people have quite a few takeaways, particularly about the Zoom etiquette and all of the ways you can sort of brighten up a meeting. So thank you very much, sir.
What have you got underneath your top half?
I'm not standing up. What have you got underneath your...
I've just got some shorts. There we go, shorts. That's all right, isn't it?
Oh, shorts. Yes. I haven't even got shorts, but I think we'll leave that. We'll edit that bit out.
Okay, listeners and viewers, what has Ian got on or not got on? There's also the etiquette of when you get up. I was reading Caitlin Moran talking about this. I'll just say that. Caitlin Moran talking about how you turn it off. One way is just go,